Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, today's Monday, we're at the top of the week, which means we look at the top performing map of the moment. But before we do that, I've got a couple of things to address from last week. Times when things went very wrong indeed, for very different reasons. So let's start off in the order that they happened on Friday with episode 1321. That was Bergtal by Alpentrainer. Now during that review I made a big point of it actually, I kind of recognised the map. It was a hype map that I'd seen before. I even thought it might have been part of a DLC and it may be being recycled. I didn't know. Could you help me in the comments? Well, you did. You helped me in the comments, you helped me via direct messages and so forth. There was a lot of help. Because, you see, I'd reviewed this map before. Episode 1039, which was October of last year. So about getting on for a year ago now. And I do have a failsafe for this, you know. I keep all of these maps on a spreadsheet. And when I type in the name of the map, if it auto-fills, that means I've done the map before. Well, on this occasion, it didn't auto-fill. And then it went up for the BonBonBuddy vote, and the BonBonBuddies didn't spot the problem either. Bless you. I don't expect you to. You're not supposed to catch all of my problems. But anyway, yes. So it's been reviewed twice. The question is, what were my ratings like this time compared to last time? The answer, fairly about the same, more or less, sort of. I gave it about an extra half a star for aesthetics this time, a high-ish 3 rather than a lowish 3. And I gave it half a star less for detail, thus averaging things out. But this time this brought it down into high 2 rather than a low 3. And for gameplay, well, a year ago it was broken because the workshop was missing some requirements. And this time it's still broken because the creator hasn't updated the workshop. So yes, about the same on average. But then we went on to Saturday when things couldn't get much worse, could they? Oh, they could get much worse. This was episode 1322, Attemptoria by Demis. Demis, I am so sorry, my friend. I am so sorry. We're going to put things right. You see, this map, I should have recognised because it was a DLC map. But I didn't recognise it, ironically. I know it's irony, but ironically, I didn't recognise this one. And what happened was, and you can see on the screen now, I selected Attemptoria on the left, and we've got the theme loading on the right, but that's not the map. That is not the map. That is Azure Gulf from Sunset Harbour DLC. Now, this has happened once in the past. I couldn't tell you what episode, but it has happened once in the past. I can't recreate it. It's just one of those things that just happened, and I need to keep an eyeball out for it because it's happened now twice in 1300 episodes, so it might happen in another 650. So around about episode 2000 we can expect this to happen again. But what am I going to do about it? Well, the answer is we're going to completely review the map from scratch. Episode 1322 that is on the channel at the moment will be renamed and basically scratched, but it'll be there for those, the curiosity factor, those that want to see a complete screw up. I will leave that up there with a note in the description as to what's going on and the rename, so you can't watch it in error. And then we will actually redo episode 1322, and my plan is to put this one out on Thursday evening, 6 PM UK time. That is time permitting. Obviously I've got a lot of work to do this week, so I'll do my best to squeeze that in. If it doesn't appear on Thursday evening, don't worry, I am still going to do it. It just means I ran out of time this week. Right, so that is everything that went wrong this week. Apology to Demis again. It's something I could have caught, something I could have spotted. It just slipped through, and I'm so sorry about that. But I guess we should get on to the purpose at hand, which is to review today's map, that top performing map of the moment, and it definitely follows the theme of the month so far, which seems to be marshlands. And today's one fits that mid gap between the two that we've done already. You'll see as we get there. But first of all, let's grab your BonBonBingo card. Link is in the description, and ready your finger for that daily reminder. You know what to do. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people, and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is San Marco Beach by ThatGuyVorian. ThatGuyVorian is back, and I love the thumbnail as well. It really does sell the map for exactly what it is: flat and watery, and a really strong start square. One minor grumble there, we'll get to that in the second half of the show, but it's still okay, it's still good. There's your terrain heights. It's very flat, based on the Fort Lauderdale area of Florida, based on, not actually a recreation of. There's your resources. Resources are good and strong, no complaints there at all. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, we've got a nice little mix of the fishies as well. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. There's a one-click collection of 44 items. One of them's definitely not required, like they do say that they're not sure about network extensions too, whether it's required or not. The answer is, best I can tell, it isn't, so you don't need to subscribe to that one. We got a whole bunch of trees, very nicely used. Not overly used, but nicely used. We'll be using the West Coast theme and the Lavianti 2.1 LUT Temperate, because that's what's been requested. I am, of course, using Daylight Classic. For those of you that there's always somebody new to the show, I do have the old version so that I can use Cube Map Replacer, but it still does exactly the same job. And yeah, you should always get Daylight Classic. It's one of the old school visual mods that still holds up today. Quite basic by today's terms, but I'll tell you what, it's fine. Do you know what? It's absolutely fine. Grab it. Play with it. You always play with the mods, and if you find you don't like it, always unplay with the mod afterwards. It's fine. Anyway, down to ground level, we've got a pretty strong highway layout on today's map. It's interesting, follows some interesting routes, and we're playing about also with national roads today as well, so it just mixes things up a little bit. Now we're going elevated because, well, marshlands and swamplands are notorious for flooding, and, well, don't play about with the water level on today's map. There's a little bit of give. The swamps are slightly raised up, which I would say is probably good for game mechanics. Probably less so for perfect aesthetics, but in terms of actual mechanics, I'd give it a little bit of leeway for when it rains, because if you have it so that the rain will affect the water levels and it rains, those water levels are going to rise slightly, and do you know what? Yeah, okay. We'll let you have that one. I do like to have that option, though, personally, of having it right to the edge, and then, do you know what? If it floods, then I've got to do something about the flooding. You know, get some sort of ditches built or something like that. There's always something to do with this game. The more realistic you want to play it, the harder it gets. Now, this is your start square intersection. We'll talk about the grumbles about a few of the there's one or two grumbles that I may have skipped over already. One or two. It's not a map filled with grumbles. There's your start square there, by the way. It's not a map filled with problems. That highway links along the river. We'll be coming back down that way in the second half of the show. I think what we'll do is we'll go inland, because I want to take you onto one of the national roads so that you can say you've seen them. I don't think it's going to make up your mind whether you want to play the map or not, but I think it's my job to show you these things. There was a nice little bit of vanilla rock work there. Oh, and a couple of trees there. Now, the map doesn't have much in the way of trees clipping through highways. That is the worst bit. Okay, get your head around that one. That's the worst bit. The map does have a problem elsewhere with trees, which we will get to later on. And again, is it something that's going to bother you? Well, that's down for you to decide, only for me to show you. And of course, if you're not playing with Anarchy, then those trees wouldn't be showing at all. Next intersection here. Okay, let's talk about highway ramps here. So it's a nice, it looks like it might be a plopped intersection. I'd like to see those just elongated out a little bit more, just make them a little bit smoother. just a little bit. It's going to be okay though. And then the way that the lanes merge there is a little bit of a bowing effect, which will, I think it does the same at the other end. We'll have a look at some point of the bowing effect as these lanes merge in. And it is something that can be fixed with the Move It tool. I would say quite easily. Sometimes it's quite easily, and sometimes it takes a little bit of fiddling. And maybe we'll get to do some fiddling today. So yes, the national road, avoiding the wet areas, staying to the dry areas. That's a pretty good plan. Definitely stick to the dry areas when you're building roads, unless you're doing the ford. You know, we haven't seen many people make fords in this game, and there's probably a good reason for that one. So anyway, yeah, these roads are bowing just a little bit there, like an arrowhead, and I think just straightening them, smoothing them up a little bit would be slightly preferable to my taste. Another very slick looking intersection there. There's not a single problem with a pillar in the highway or anything like that. So some very good standards going on there. That road going off to the right is that one there. That goes back down the river, back to the start square area. I said we'd take a look down that later. Yeah, there's your start square there. I think we'll do that second half of the show as well. Another one of these slightly bowed arrowhead spear, more like a spear than an arrow, isn't it? I feel actually, yeah, a spearhead kind of joining up there. This bridge looks a little bit low. We've got some custom ships running under there. It might be a little bit low for vanilla shipping. We'll check that one out when we get to the second half of the show as well. And then this national road just heads back down this, and I know it's got a word. I've forgotten what the word for these. It's like just like an elevated bit of land with the sea on either side, effectively by this point, isn't it? Remind me in the comments. It's gone. It's gone. My head has absolutely lost this one. But yes, there's a lot of this going on in Florida along the waterfronts, and I think being able to get down here will add to gameplay. So all credit for that. Now we've got some rail, and the rail's going to be not too uppy downy because it's a very flat map. This is the end of the rail where we have a bit of a spur going on. The spur just jaunts its way down to there. Can you see that? Can you see that? And then if we come back along the spur, assuming that this spur is abandoned, a little bit of tree or grass on here would be okay. Okay, so I think we'll forgive that bit. We won't, however, forgive this bit because this is the main line, and you're going to be using this for getting a rail in and out of your city. Now, of course, these trees are not going to stop your trains from running, so in terms of gameplay, it's not a problem. And clearly, the highways have been cleared, on the whole, mostly of trees, so it's something that ThatGuyVorian was obviously aware might be a thing. Only, I think they've forgotten to go back and check on the rail before releasing the map. Is it a big problem? Make up your own mind. I would say it's a minor problem because it's not a game affecting problem, and if you want to do screenshots, then it's very easy to clear these areas with either the bulldozer or the Move It marquee tool, just to select sections at a time. Or again, of course, if you're not using Anarchy, those trees won't be there at all anyway. So there is that. But with 44 assets to subscribe to, I reckon this is more a modder's map rather than a base game style map. A nice bridge over the water there, and then back in amongst the trees this way. So yes, I'm not one to hide my mistakes. I'm not one to shy away from them when I mess up. I will tell you I messed up, and like I say, I could have avoided those two mess ups. One, I don't know how I would have spotted that on the spreadsheet, but yeah, I didn't recognise it. Just couldn't believe that I didn't recognise the Attempt to Rear map. Well, I can believe it because I don't really concentrate too much on those DLC maps, to be fair. I took a quick glance at them once each and crammed them into one show. But yes, it's all about your creations and your maps and what you can create, because frankly, you're at least as good as the creators at Colossal Order and Paradox, because frankly, I mean, even this map glows. And I'm not saying it's not that it's not a good map, I'll tell you, but it glows compared to some of those in the vanilla base game. Anyway, let's pull back, have an intermission, come back straight after this message.
Are you baffled by how YouTubers put detailing on their assets? Are you frightened that something called anarchy would break your game? Then you need the BonBonB's Beginner Guide to Anarchy. Click the information button now.
And so back to San Marco Beach by ThatGuyVorian. And we have a right angle turning. And then we have another is it the Central Lighthouse? Isn't she lovely? And then another right angle turning here. And see, this ship is going to be taking a turning. Not too real. Shipping triangles. Always the shipping triangles, please. And then these go down under that bridge that I suggested might be a little bit too low for vanilla shipping. I think it is a tad too low for vanilla shipping. Again, though, it's not too difficult to get hold of these custom boats if that's what you want to do, if you want to avoid this. This bridge is definitely too low for vanilla shipping, and as is that one. But we do avoid the pillars, so there's all credit on those. And then I'll head off towards the edge of the map, which means we can take a look at the water flow, which on the marshy map is going to be important. Okay? And the access to water in the start square is just these two little inlets there and there. We've got a couple of udders, aren't they? And there's not an awful lot of water flow going on there, so if you are doing the pumping and drawing, you're likely to poison your people. So yeah, I'd go with the water towers if I were you. Right, okay, down to ground level. And as marshes go, we had a couple of marshes last week. One was quite insanely detailed in the middle of the map, while lesser detailing around the outside of the map. And the other one was more stylized in the way that it was done. And this one I think is midway between the two. Quite heavily detailed, but also quite stylized at the same time as well. I think best of both worlds. Okay, a little bit of the vanilla detailing going on here. The vanilla pier there, and the burnt out cottage, and a cemetery as well, which is overgrown with weeds. I don't mind that. Like the way that the rail, we've got the bridge segments over the water and then elevated sections. That's nice. Just taking a couple of moments to switch between different sorts of rail going on there. And then another pier with the burnt out shack there as well. So a little bit of light vanilla detailing going on. Okay, now let's come down to here. We've got a little bit of a problem. Have a look. We've got traffic on the right and no traffic on the left. And that is always a warning sign to maybe a broken bit of highway there. This is clearly anarchy and possibly a parallel road tool. Combination of the two. We haven't got a proper connection there, and that bit of highway is broken. It won't break the map, it just means that that traffic's going to have to go the long way. A little bit more detailing along here, like in the rock detailing along here, just to add something a little bit different. It makes different, a little bit of variation in the map makes a map a bit more interesting, so I think a little bit of credit for that one. And then back towards the start square intersection, well, I think we'll have a look at a couple of the highway ramps, or at least one of the highway ramps, like this one here. So we've got a little bit of a bowing going on there. That's something that can be fixed with Move It. Not necessarily that easy, but a little bit of fiddling, moving the nodes back, moving the segments in and out, and then so occasionally you just find that sweet spot. Find the sweet spot. There you go. There's the sweet spot. We've got a little bit of bowing on this side as well, so I'm just going to move that out and that in and pop. So I think that's marginally more polished than what we had before. There's not a huge amount in it, but I thought while we were here, we might as well. And while we're here at the start square, we might as well have a look at the asset of the day. And now I'm going to butcher this one. This is a building in Gdansk in Poland, courtesy of Robal. And here we go. Zieleniak. I'm going Zieleniak because anglicised, you know. And factoids because factoids. Okay, this is UK versus Italy. And I know there's some Italian viewers there. There are more miles of canals in Birmingham in the UK than there are in Venice. That said, having been to Birmingham and seen pictures of Venice, I've not been myself, but I have family members that have been. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Not so much Birmingham. I have been to Birmingham. Birmingham. I've played sport at Aston Villa, at Villa Park, no less. Okay, it wasn't actually on the main pitch, but I have, in my youth, been active. Once or twice. Zieleniak by Robal. What a great looking building. I think I might use that in my city build. I might. I'm not saying I will. I'm saying I might. My city build, The Island. Check it out. Coming next episode. Episode 3 will be out on Friday. Okay, so your chance to vote on today's map. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen, or the link in the description. You'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple, or a Patreon account. But what do I think of today's map? Well, aesthetically, I think it does the business. I think it's lacking a little bit of the extra polish that 44 asset subscriptions would kind of like hint you would have. But that said, I like it as it is. Me, if I was doing this, I'd go overboard. I'd go too crazy. And I think they've got the balance just about right. Can I give it 4 stars though? I want to. I feel it's just a high 3. Detailing. Again, detailing. There's not too much to speak of, but what there is good. And so therefore I feel that this also is a high 3 stars for detail. Gameplay potential, possibly a 4th star. Lots of trees to clear as you're going with the rail though, which takes away from a little bit, and a broken bit of highway which will take 2 seconds to fix. I'm going to go high 3 on this one as well. It's a tough one, that one. San Marco Beach by ThatGuyVorian. I feel I might have docked this guy a half a star somewhere. I feel probably in the gameplay, actually. It's just a lot of trees under those rails. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. We've made it to the end of another show, so if you feel like it, use the word of the day into the comments. Score yourself some population points just for fun to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. And I'll be back tomorrow with another map in the What's Map series. It'll be the request map, so you have no idea what is coming. I certainly have no idea. Help me.